guys, welcome back to a brand new video, and welcome back to my WWE 2K GM mode on Monday Night Raw. That is right, we are back yet again for another episode of this series known as the Raw GM mode here in WWE 2K. This is episode number 2, and I'm very excited for the show here today. Before we talk about today's show, and before we get on to today's show, of course, you know, at the beginning of every GM mode episode I do, whether it be All Elite Wrestling on Monday Night Raw or any future brand I decide to visit, hint, hint. Because yes, I see your guys' comments when you ask me for an Attitude Era GM mode, a Ruthless Aggression GM mode, going back to the old GM mode games, doing an NXT, a SmackDown. It's all coming in the future. I promise you, I have plans for future GM modes and everything all around the world of professional wrestling, but I'm not going to do them all at once. We're going to spread them out a little bit, you know, there's no rush right now. My channel's just getting going. We just hit 13k, thank you, by the way. And really, there's no rush, you know, 2K22 comes out in like 3 or 4 months, however long it is. So the moral of the story is, yeah, I have a bunch of GM mode content planned for that game and beyond, but there's no rush. We'll get to it when we get to it. Right now, and today, it is all about Monday Night Raw, and what a show we have lined up for you here today. However, as I was trying to say a moment ago before I really interrupted myself, at the beginning of every GM mode episode on this channel, we're going to go ahead and look at the current budget and see how many views and ratings the last episode got, and see how much money we can add onto the current budget and then spend in today's episode. And so after last episode, we ended up having $80,000 left in the current budget, but last episode ended up breaking up that 2,500 view threshold, which means that's plus $90,000, and over 350 likes, which means that's plus $85,000, leaving our grand total to spend here today at a whopping $255,000. And with that $255,000 being said, before I show you who I'm going to spend my money on in today's intro, and there are some very huge additions to the roster that we'll be making here today, I want to explain real quick how free agency is going to be working in this series, because I neglected mentioning it in the first episode because I kind of just assumed in my mind all of you who were watching that episode had already seen the AEW GM mode, and so you would have understood how the free agency rule worked. But then I remembered that there's probably new people coming to the channel based on that episode, so I'm going to go ahead and explain it if you're new around here. And so to explain the free agency rule, it's very simple. Essentially, we reflect how the real world of professional wrestling is going. Let's say, for example, on Monday Night Raw, there was a free agent we wanted to get, and they had just been released from, I don't know, ROH, and their contract had just ended, or New Japan, or Impact, or AEW. As long as they are a free agent now in real life, and their no-compete clause isn't a thing anymore, then we can go ahead and sign them. And the same works as if there was a free agent out there right now that we want to sign, and we could bring them into Monday Night Raw, whether it be a former WWE alumni, or an AEW superstar who had just been released, whatever it is, doesn't really matter. As long as they are a free agent in the world of professional wrestling, then we can sign them for our roster here on Monday Night Raw, and you know, based on the price and everything, we'll work it out depending on what their value is. Like, for example, in the AEW GM mode, for those of you guys that saw that series, you'll remember that the free agents we signed about halfway through were Tama Tonga and Tangaloa of the GOD, and that was for $30,000 because that was around about their value as a tag team. And so really, when it comes to the free agency rule on Monday Night Raw, obviously this is a bigger brand, this is a bigger opportunity, and so we'll kind of just calculate their value based on who they are, what they've done, where they've been, and you know, things like that. Now it is time for the juicy part, the moment you've all been waiting for. Who am I going to be spending my money on in today's intro? Let's take a look. So the first things first, I'm the realest. $50,000 on the King of Kings, the game, Triple H, the first legendary buy of the series. And we are not slowing down there, because after buying the game, we're spending $35,000 on the Fiend, and we're spending an extra $45,000 on Alexa Bliss. We will now be spending $30,000 on the charismatic enigma, Jeff Hardy. Moving on though, we spent $35,000 on Miz and John Morrison, and finally, for today's intro, we spent $35,000 on Kairi Sane. The Pirate Princess is back. Universe GM mode alumni and the inaugural Women's World Champion Kairi Sane is back on Monday Night Raw, and at least for now, that leaves our overall budget at $25,000 remaining. And so now, as I wrap up this intro here, before I pass you on to this edition of Monday Night Raw, there's one question I want to ask you guys. So I'm not gonna lie, lately, as in like in the last week, ever since I released the first episode of this series, I've kind of been thinking, I don't think I want two women's or two tag divisions on my show. I don't want a women's tag division and a men's tag division. I kind of just want to have the men's tag team championship. And here's the kicker. I think even though I just retired the belt in the first episode, I think I made a mistake, and I kind of want to switch out the women's tag team titles and bring in the women's intercontinental championship, because I think it'd be just more interesting to have two singles women's championships instead of, you know, a tag division, which is it's just not as if I don't enjoy women's tag team wrestling, because I do. It's great in NXT. Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae have been two of the highlights of the last year in NXT. Same goes for Shotzi Blackheart, same goes for Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai. In NXT, it's amazing. However, with that being said, given the women that I have on the main roster right now, I mean, we've got a few women's tag teams on Monday Night Raw right now, but I think I'd prefer to put some of those women into singles matches and into the women's IC Championship division. And so I guess what I'm trying to say in a roundabout kind of way is, let me know what you guys think I should do down in the comments below. Do you think I should keep the women's tag team championships on my Monday Night Raw and buy them eventually, or do you think I should bring back the women's IC title that Shayna Baszler held in the Universe GM mode? Let me know. But yeah, that about wraps it up for today's intro of the Raw GM mode. I hope you guys all enjoyed this show, and so without any more further ado, I present to you another episode of my Monday Night Raw. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Monday Night Raw, where we simply say, welcome back to the darkness, welcome back, Aleister Black. Aleister Black is finally back on Monday Night Raw, and my god, what a year. In just a short amount of time we've seen him on Monday Night Raw, what an impact he has made on this brand in this calendar year. I mean, allow me to take you back. It was around the time of the Royal Rumble pay-per-view where Pete Dunne, the United Kingdom champion, the former United Kingdom champion, was in a heated feud with Aleister Black. After Black answered one of his open challenges, these men went on to have a brutal Philadelphia street fight at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view where Aleister Black ended up being put through a flaming table. I know I certainly don't forget that, and something I certainly do not forget about the career of Aleister Black this year is, of course, his most famous, most infamous moment when he ended the career of the Viper Randy Orton at WrestleMania. And now Black is back and looking to dominate and cause even more destruction than the last time we saw him. Now here comes Aleister Black's opponent, none other than Angel Garza, someone who has been highly compared to the likes of the legendary Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio, someone who has all the tools to become one of the all-time greats here in the WWE. But can he capitalize on that momentum? Can he capitalize on that potential? We will soon find out. But now this crowd is ready to witness the return of Aleister Black against Angel Garza. Garza is ready, Black is ready, referee rings the bell, here we go. And Black wasting no time going for that flying knee, but Garza with the counter right there. And now Garza, no, it's countered by Black, and there's the T-bone suplex. And Angel Garza is down right now, and Aleister Black picking up Angel Garza, who was lifeless after that T-bone suplex, and he just caught a Black mass. The first Black mass in a matter of months there from Aleister Black. And it doesn't even look like the kid's done. Aleister Black again. Another wicked Black mass to the jaw of Angel Garza. And of course Black sitting cross-legged because that's exactly what he does. He doles out punishment and he laps it up and enjoys every second of it. And now Aleister Black again. Another Black mass. I mean, I was really expecting Angel Garza to do more, but once you catch one Black mass, you ain't getting up. But if you catch a fourth, you're certainly getting up for a while. Black mass by Aleister as he goes to the cover on Angel Garza. Referee counts the pin, and Black is back with a win on Raw. Absolute sheer dominance from the darkness within, the man who walks the left-hand path. And if anyone wants to get in the way of this man, if anyone wants to pick a fight with him, I simply say, do not try it, because there is only one way it is going to end. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the show must continue. After that dominant performance from Aleister Black, we move to another dominant superstar here on the Raw roster. Here comes the man, Becky Lynch. Ah, yes, sir. Here comes the Women's World Champion, the woman who has held that belt ever since WrestleMania. And after last week, she may just have another challenger on her hands, because it was in a match with Lana where Becky was almost stalked by a weird vignette that played on that Titantron. And I mean, we don't entirely know who the identity was of that Titantron vignette, but we can hazard a guess. But I'm assuming Becky Lynch is out here to respond to what she saw last week right now. So a week ago, I slapped the head off Lana, and it was all business as usual. Even though everything around us is changing with this roster reset draft, the one thing that stayed the same was Becky Balboa taking care of business in this ring. But all was not as it seems, because what do you know, in the middle of my match a weird vignette thing started playing on the Titantron. Now I'm in the heat at the moment, I had no idea what was going on, but I went back and rewatched my match and now I realised that the vignette could only signal the arrival of one woman, or should I say, one empress. And Asuka, I want answers, and so instead of playing your little mind games again with me, why don't you come on out here and face me like a woman? Just a minute, the Queen's back, Charlotte Flair, and after seeing that vignette again, that was not the woman I was expecting to see, but the Queen is here on Raw. And apparently wherever Becky goes, Charlotte is not too far behind, although Charlotte will have you believe differently, but nevertheless, things just got interesting. Woo! Hello, Becky. So nice to see you again. Did you forget about me again? I'm the Queen, Charlotte Flair, and Yeah, we get it. We've heard this whole shtick 1,000 times in the WWE, and I'm sick of it. You're Charlotte Flair, you're the Queen, you get handed matches because of who your daddy is. We know exactly who you are. I don't get handed anything. I worked for everything I have got. You know that, Bex. But that's not really why I'm out here. I'm here to give you a warning. A warning? A warning for what? A warning about Asuka. She's different, Becky. You don't want to mess with her. Trust me, I know. She's one of the most devastating performers of this or any other generation. Why are you saying this like I don't know that already? I've tussled with Asuka before. I know what I'm getting into. And I know I want her to get out here right now. And besides, I've beaten her more times than you dope. See, this is what I mean, Becky. You're never going to be champion forever with this fiery attitude of yours. It's not built to last. See, that's crazy because this title reign alone has been longer than your last 3 combined. Real funny, Bex, real funny. But since you say I never earn any of my opportunities, how about you give me an opportunity next week to earn an opportunity? If you really want to run it back while I wait for Asuka, then that's fine by me. I'm going to make an example out of you next week, and then Asuka will truly know she isn't just messing with another women's superstar, she's messing with the man. Man, oh man, that is going to be very interesting to see where things go between Becky and Charlotte next week on Raw. Remember, if Charlotte beats Becky, then she will get a Women's Championship opportunity. And as well, not to mention, you've got Asuka looming in the background as well, playing mind games with Becky Lynch, or at least trying to. But right now, we transition from one championship picture to another because here comes the former world champion, Drew McIntyre. It was a week ago on Monday Night Raw where Drew McIntyre returned to Monday Night Raw after, of course, being drafted away many months ago in that Superstar shake-up to SmackDown. He comes back in this version of the roster reset draft to be confronted by Tommaso Ciampa. Them two get it on in a bit of a war of words. Drew McIntyre gets his World Championship rematch that he has been owed since WrestleMania. And then out of freaking nowhere, despite the fact that Tommaso Ciampa said he had no tricks up his sleeve, Johnny Gargano shows up from NXT to screw over Drew McIntyre, cause a disqualification, and help Ciampa retain his title. And by all indicators, it seemed like DIY reunited in front of our very eyes last week. And depending on what side of the camp you fall on, but in my opinion, it was a sickening display by DIY for Ciampa to call in Gargano like that to help him retain the World Championship against McIntyre, who was closing in on winning the title, and to call in Gargano to do your dirty work. That's just not something I can respect, quite frankly. But honestly, it's not about respect, it's about checks and championships, and this man right here knows a thing or two about championships in his career, because here comes Johnny Gargano. This match made official this past week on WWE.com after, of course, the events of the main event last week. Drew McIntyre is out for revenge on one man and one man only here tonight, and his name is Johnny Gargano. And you've got to imagine once McIntyre gets through Gargano, if he can get through Gargano, because I mean, don't take anything away from Johnny Gargano, a hell of a competitor. You can comment on the characteristics all day long of this man, but you can't forget that he's a multi-time North American, multi-time NXT champion, and simply put, one of the very best in the world. But if McIntyre can somehow get past Gargano here, you know exactly who he's going for once again, and his name is the World Heavyweight Champion Tommaso Ciampa. And now this match is underway. Drew McIntyre against Johnny Gargano, and Drew McIntyre wasting no time taking down Gargano, looking to get revenge on the man who cost him the world title a week ago. And this really is going to be a treat right here on Monday Night Raw. This is the kind of match that could main event a WrestleMania or a takeover anywhere around the world. Gargano against McIntyre, but right now McIntyre is on a warpath and he ain't slowing down, but Gargano using his quickness, his agility to his advantage, spinning kick right there to Drew McIntyre. And now what is Gargano thinking? Bouncing him off the ropes here, Irish whip into, oh, nice leapfrog there by Gargano, nice leapfrog again, and he hits him with the uppercut. And now Gargano here just working down on McIntyre. If he wants to beat McIntyre, this is what he is going to have to do. He can ill afford to let McIntyre get going. He needs to keep him down and work him down. Now, here we go, first cover of the matchup here on Drew McIntyre, but he only gets a 1 count. Gonna have to do more than that to beat McIntyre with the pissed off mood he is in. Look at how quick he sprang back up, but a super kick there to the gut by Gargano, and Gargano with an enziguri caught McIntyre on the back of the head. And now once again, this is what I was talking about. It's got to be the status quo for Johnny Gargano. You got to keep McIntyre down, but McIntyre is not going to allow that to happen. Look at the size differential between these two men, and look at that slamming him down. Drew McIntyre is a man possessed right now. All he can think about is getting back to Tommaso Ciampa and the World's Heavyweight Championship. And we are just a matter of weeks away from Clash of Champions, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to imagine that Tommaso Ciampa will defend that world title at that event, and if anyone deserves a shot, it's got to be Drew McIntyre after what Gargano did last week. But of course, right now McIntyre is not focused on the world title entirely. He's focused on getting revenge on Johnny Gargano, and then he'll set his sights on Ciampa once again. Even with that being said, let's extend the picture a little bit. Let's expand it out. Let's look at a wider field of view. There's not just Drew McIntyre wanting a world title opportunity. There are other stars here on this Raw roster who, no doubt about it, there's a Snake Eyes in the corner, the Lawn Dye, excuse me. But there are other superstars on this Raw roster who are going to want a piece of Tommaso Ciampa at that pay-per-view as well. It is not just McIntyre, and here we go. No, a kick out. I thought Gargano might have just picked up a big win right there over McIntyre, but it was not to be. And for the Raw viewers who may not be too familiar with this kid, Johnny Gargano, do not let his size play a factor in your mind as to how good he is, because this kid is talented. He is one of the very best in the world right now, but McIntyre doing everything he can to beat a former North American and former NXT champion, Big Woo Chop. Johnny freaking Wrestling Kid is certainly no slouch, certainly no pushover, but right now McIntyre is a man possessed. As I said, nice close on there to the back of the head. And now look at this, McIntyre raining down the fists right here. Oh my god, just beating the hell out of Johnny Gargano. No love lost between these two men. And for as much as we know Gargano will do great things on the Raw roster, there's no doubt about it, tonight might not be his time. McIntyre might have this one locked in if he could just deliver that finishing blow, but there's a big drop kick by Johnny Gargano. Don't count the kid out too soon at all. Look at this, a callback to DIY, which just freshly reunited off last week. Super kick now, counter by McIntyre, a counter by McIntyre, gets out of the way, the super kick, air raid siren, the air raid siren, and now McIntyre is about to deliver a massive amount of revenge. Clay more by Drew McIntyre into the cover on Johnny Gargano, and McIntyre gets his revenge. What an unbelievable match it was between these two superstars, Gargano and McIntyre. Not disappointing, but in the end, McIntyre, like I said multiple times, he is on a warpath. He is a man possessed, and he will not stop until he gets to Tommaso Ciampa and the World Heavyweight Championship once again. And wherever Tommaso Ciampa may be tonight, McIntyre just silenced your boy, and McIntyre is coming for you and your title one of these days soon. It simply is only a matter of time. And just when you thought the show was done, do not go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, because here comes, after last week's event, the new Intercontinental Champion, AJ Styles. Because yes, you heard me right, it was a week ago when AJ Styles accepted that open challenge of Ricochet in that backstage interview with Renee Young, and long story short, the Phenomenal One captured his first Intercontinental Championship in the WWE. It was a hell of a performance from both men, but in the end, Styles proved to just be too damn phenomenal for the one and only. Oh my god, it actually happened. This must really sting for you guys who love Ricochet. I mean, seriously, look at some of the looks on your faces. You genuinely believed in him, didn't you? Ricochet, you're my hero, a superhero. You're gonna beat AJ Styles, you can do it. See, this is now the phenomenal era, and so with the beginning of a new era on Monday Night Raw, I'd like to thank the long-forgotten Ricochet. No, seriously, I would. Thank you, Ricochet, for being a loser. Hey, goodbye. Hang on just a minute, AJ Styles' business has just picked up because here comes the former champion, the one and only Ricochet. This is far from over, and I'm not going anywhere because I'm cashing in my rematch clause at Clash of Champions, and I'm taking back my SC title because I am the one and only. Fine, but what do you say we have a little wager to make this rematch more interesting? If you win a match on Raw, then you pick the stipulation for our match, but if you lose, then I'll pick it. I accept. I'll take on anyone, I don't care. Oh, I am so glad you said that, because your opponent here tonight is Omos. Jesus Christ, would you look at the size of that? That's big Omos right there. Look at the size differential between him and Ricochet. There's just a stare down between these two men right now. And now here we go, Ricochet trying to fight this big Omos, but look at the size of this man. Oh my God, just raining down. This man isn't even in wrestling gear, but it doesn't matter. And now Omos just stomping the life out of the former Intercontinental Champion, and AJ Styles is loving this on the outside of the ring. And Ricochet just talked his way into this match right here. He said, I'll take on anyone, but surely he didn't expect this from this big Omos right here. I mean, remember the stipulation, ladies and gentlemen. If Ricochet can beat Omos here, his opponent hits on a handpick by AJ Styles, then he will get to pick the stipulation for their championship rematch at Clash of Champions. But right now, it is not looking good. Ricochet has barely gotten any offense on Omos. And now Omos here picking up Ricochet and just throwing him into the LED ring post and a knee to boot as well. This is the in-ring debut of this mysterious Omos that has been by AJ Styles' side for the last couple of months, and Omos is dominating right now. In a man of his size, 7 foot plus, you should expect nothing less. And look at this, telling Ricochet, you do not belong in here with me, Ricochet. And to be quite frank with you, you've got to imagine that Omos is telling nothing but the truth. The knockout right hand there by Omos. Look at the size of that fist. That might have given Ricochet a concussion on impact alone. My God. And now Omos into the cover here on Ricochet, and it was really only a matter of time. Omos beats Ricochet. It was pure dominance there from Omos, and now we know Ricochet does not get to pick the stipulation because the honors go to AJ Styles at Clash of Champions.